I think what I'll do is kind of just summarize, and maybe I can summarize it using this slide here, just to kind of give me some hints as to what I'm supposed to say. Here, I got this from William Zinsser, reading his book on writing. And he says something like, he says this, he states this: clear thinking becomes clear writing. One can't exist without the other. It's impossible for a muddy thinker to write good English. I think that's what we're trying to get at. We're trying to get thinking through writing as well. So some people may look at writing as, it's required in the park, so I'm going to teach my kids how to write. Well, sure, that's the practical aspect of writing, isn't it? But the real core of writing is to be able to think, use that to be able to think with. Because when you write, you're actually having a conversation with yourself, and you have to be very clear, very precise when you write, especially when not only you're writing for yourself, but when you're writing for others. It's not like you're having an oral discussion. As we're having an oral discussion, we can fill in. You know, the listener can fill in. If you leave something out, they can fill it in. You've heard me say this before. Back in the 70s and 80s, remember that phrase, "so like that"? Remember that? Well, maybe you guys were young enough to use it. I don't know. But kids would come in, especially young girls would come in and say, "Ooh, that teacher makes me feel so like that." And I know the other one would say, "She makes me feel so like that too." And they have this conversation back and forth. They knew what they were talking about. They had just gone through it. But if you're going to write something, I'm filling in the blanks, okay? They were exasperated. They made them angry. They made them mad. What was the emotion, see? So when you're talking to somebody, they fill in the blanks. The listener fills in the blanks. But when you're writing, you can't fill in the blanks. You see, writing has to be you have to be able to communicate effectively and precisely and with fluidity as well. This is why Zinsser says, clear thinking becomes clear writing. One can't exist without the other. It's impossible for a muddy thinker to write good English. And it doesn't have to be English. It could be any language. It could be any language. He just happens to be writing in English. So another gentleman said that writing a good sentence is no accident. Think about that. Can you accidentally write a good sentence? No, you have to know what a good sentence is. So I like to collect good sentences. And you know what else I like to collect? I like to collect good math problems too. I do that. I say, oh, here's one. Let me take this one. I'll collect it and I throw it into my computer. See? So I collect those along with good sentences. So that is what we're after in all of this, is to write in order to become clear thinkers. That's what I'm after anyway. So if I have a student in my class and they become good mathematicians, good science people, good writers, they could probably do anything they want to in the world. If you're good at math, if you're good at science, and if you're good at writing, because then you're good at speaking, okay? You can do anything you want to. The whole world is open to you. So, but if I don't care if my student doesn't want to go work at the lab or work with corporate, but if they want to go to the Valles Caldera and contemplate their belly button, that's fine with me. But if they're going to be my students, they're going to contemplate at a higher level. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so all of this writing is really set upon these three theories, okay? And this method, the multi-component theory of working memory. I hope you understand a little bit what working memory is and what happens when you constipate that working memory. What happens? Oh, the thinking does become modeled, muddy. It does become, then kids become frustrated. And then there's some sort of emotional response. There's some kind of outburst, or they shut down, or something in between. So with multi-component theory of working memory, what is the important part here? Well, one important part is that they have to have what in order to bring information into that space, that memory space. Things in long-term memory. These are what computational skills, understanding operation of numbers, having number sense, the properties of numbers, images, the language, the IC flip, images, concepts, facts, language. They got to have all of that to bring it up automatically. And then the cognitive theory of writing, which is nothing more than writing is a thinking process. That's okay. So then if you look at your writing here, and some of the writing I showed you that I did, and some of the writing that you guys did was, okay, I did this, and then this, and then this, and I finally distilled it to one sentence or two sentences. But I needed to go through that process in order to get that one sentence. I would imagine that William Zinsser didn't come up with this thing all at once. It may be a lifetime of work for him to say, clear thinking becomes clear writing, because he's a writing instructor at, I think it was Yale University. So he's been doing this for a long time. So he gets this insight, you see, and this intuition about writing and thinking as well. So understand that what is going on there. And all of this is really a process. Now, the model method for solving problems, you guys have used bars. You guys have used number lines, and with numbers as well. And so what that does, it frees up this multi-component theory of learning. It is think of the working memory like a bucket, and this bucket has a certain capacity. So let's say this bucket has a 1 gallon capacity. If I fill it and fill it and fill it, I got one bucket. Then a gallon. Then what happens? It overfills. It can't take any more. So then what do we need? We need models and we need strategies. Just like that 4.5 times 4.5, I have to have all of this in order to be able to multiply for a 4, 1/2 of 4, 1/2 of 4 again, and then 1/2 of 1/2. You see? So then I don't constipate my working memory, do I? No, but all of that has to come from where? Long-term memory. That's why K1 is so important to 2. K1, 2 is so important to 3. And on up the line. See, so that is what mathematics writing is all about. But if you really come down, if you really look at it, that's what everything's about. It's about working in terms of what we're teaching, or even living your life. It's about what? Working memory. It's about working memory. And what happens with working memory if you're frustrated, or if you're pushed to a certain limit, like fight or flight type of situation? What happens in those situations? Especially, you guys have all been in there, where the kid fight or flight. What do? They they shut down, or they're working at a very low level. It's usually at a very basic level. Yeah, there's no thinking going on. Okay, so just to recap, is mathematics writing really is about thinking.